Hello, friends. In this video, we're going to be talking about sudden tragedies and disappearances surrounding Grand Teton National Park. The Grand Teton Mountains are beautiful and majestic mountains, which led to the eventual creation of Grand Teton National Park. The park, which is almost the size of Connecticut, allows visitors to explore to their heart's content over 200 miles of trails. It also flowed on one of the many rivers, such as the Snake River, or just enjoy the peace and serenity that comes with the atmosphere of being in this absolutely breathtaking creation of Mother Nature. As we know in this community, however, even all the awe and wonder that come along with hiking in the mountains can't prevent some tragedies from happening sometimes. Today, we bring to you some tragedies and disappearances surrounding Grand Teton National Park specifically. Some which happened so suddenly, perhaps the victim didn't even know what happened. First up, Cian McLaughlin. Grand Teton National Park is 3,010 acres. Said earlier, nearly the size of Connecticut. Now, one mother, visiting from Ireland, is combing through it looking for her son. On June 8, 2021, Cian, who was 27 years old at the time of his disappearance, was last seen in the park going for a hike. Originally from Ireland, Cian McLaughlin was living in Jackson, Wyoming, working as a snowboard instructor and bartender. He was hiking on the Lupine Meadows Trail the day he was last seen. A witness saw him around 3:45 in the afternoon. He was an experienced outdoorsman, but the conditions on the trails were particularly dangerous in early June. There was melting snow and ice. Cian's mother stated, "We are really appealing to anybody who was in the park June 8th, 9th, or 10th to look back at their videos or photographs in the background. If you met Cian, he has a very Irish accent." She also stated, "Back in June, we were told this was not a rescue anymore, that it was definitely a recovery, which is very hard to hear. But I just felt the need to come back here to the Grand Teton to connect with him and do the searching myself." She said that she knew her son was somewhere in the park and didn't want to give up until she brought him back home to Ireland with her, one way or another. She continued that nobody had any idea as to what could possibly have happened to her son and that everyone was just trying to figure everything out. There are no definitive answers at this point. A tip came in late June, however, which triggered new searches around Bradley and Taggart Lakes. A resident from Jackson who returned from an international trip came forward with the new information, park officials said in a news release. The reporting party described seeing Cian McLaughlin in the late afternoon on early evening, June 8th, which was the last day he was seen, on the south side of the Bradley-Taggart Moraine. The individual reported that Cian was headed south towards Taggart Lake and that he had a conversation with him where he described where he worked, that he's from Ireland and currently living in Jackson. The park news release also reported the reporting party continued hiking toward Bradley Lake and did not see McLaughlin again that evening. Based on that tip, the park initiated additional searches around Bradley and Taggart Lakes. Park staff also searched the Phelps Lake area, which Cian McLaughlin reportedly liked to visit. No evidence or clues of his whereabouts were identified, the release said. At its peak, the search for the Valley resident and Dublin native was massive. Up to 70 park staff each day and several dog teams searched the park's trails, canyons, and woods for 6 nights straight. Since Cian was reported as missing, which was 4 days after he was last seen, the park's investigation team has spoken with more than 140 people with tips and information. More than 45 helicopter search missions were conducted, some using RICO rescue technology and thermal imaging cameras. No searchers were injured during the expansive operation, which involved navigating steep, technical terrain, some of which required rope, ice axes, and crampons. Anyone with any information on the disappearance of Cian McLaughlin is asked to call or text the tip line at 888-653-0009. "We really appreciate hearing from people if they saw anything out of the ordinary," said Erica Justad, acting chief ranger for Teton Park. Robert Lowry. Robert Bob Lowry was a 42-year-old father of 2 from Texas who disappeared after he flew to Jackson Hole on August 19, 2021, and took a ride-sharing car service to Wilson, a town near multiple National Forest trailheads. His sister, Lee, previously said that her brother took the trip after leaving his real estate job in Houston. His remains were found on September 28th in the Bridger Teton National Forest, which is the same forest where authorities found Gabby Petito's body on September 19th. Volunteer rescue teams with a dog found a set of remains and a black Nike duffel bag on a steep wooded slope, the Teton County Search and Rescue said at the time. Authorities said that Gabby Petito's case, being covered as it was by so many national news outlets, helped greatly in highlighting many other missing persons cases throughout the nation, including Bob Lowry's. At least 2 people contacted police with new information about the last place he was possibly seen the weekend before his body was found. His remains were properly identified, and the coroner reported that Bob died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Robert Lowry was described as a wonderful father, son, brother, and friend. After his remains were found, his family spoke to the media simply saying, "Our family wants to thank the news media and others involved in the search for our privacy at this difficult time." You never know what little information can help, Teton County Sheriff's Office Chad Seish told NBC News of the tips. Hopefully, more tips will come in to help these other families. Jared Hembry, another man from Texas who was found in Grand Teton National Park, was 26-year-old Jared Hembry. Jared was from Cibolo, which is about 25 miles northwest of San Antonio. He was reported as missing on October 21st, 2021, and his body was located and recovered 3 days later on the 24th near Ull Hill in the eastern part of the park, or just southeast of the community of Morin. A search involving more than 80 personnel began after park law enforcement received a call expressing concern for Jared's welfare based on the caller's interaction with him just outside the park. His vehicle was found at the Game Warden Point parking area in the eastern part of Grand Teton. Several agencies participated in the search, including the Civil Air Patrol and the Wyoming Highway Patrol. The Park Service and Teton County Sheriff's Office are investigating the cause of death. The park and all those involved in the search extend their condolences to Jared Hembry's family and friends. Renee Drying. Renee Drying was a 21-year-old Grand Teton Lodge Company employee who was working his second summer when he was reported as missing on September 2, 2016. He failed to show up for his scheduled shift at Coulter Bay Village, which was very out of character for him. The investigation initially revealed that Renee had likely departed for his trip from the Jenny Lake Lodge at about 10:30 a.m. on Wednesday, August 31st. Renee is said to have been planning to hike or climb in the Teton Range, though his exact plans are unclear. He may have attempted to ascend Table Mountain from Cascade Canyon. Various alternate objectives included Hanging Canyon, the Jaw, Mount St. John, or some other location in the range. He's known to be spontaneous in the mountains and to change plans frequently. Investigations conducted by rangers led to the updated point last seen along the northwest shore of Jenny Lake. A witness described him as moving very fast and wearing no shirt with an orange and gray backpack. He was hiking alone and seemed to be in good spirits. He may have been wearing a headband. On the morning of September 3rd, Grand Teton National Park conducted an aerial and ground search right away. Approximately 55 searchers joined the Teton Interagency Contract helicopter team in the search for Mr. Dryling in the Cascade Canyon, Hanging Canyon, and Table Mountain areas. That same morning, search teams received a tip from a hiker who saw Renee around noon on Wednesday on the trail along the northwest shore of Jenny Lake. On September 5th, 2016, rangers found his body on the north side of Mount Owen on a rocky cliff band beneath steep snowfields. His body was recovered the next day. The official cause of death? A fractured neck and head trauma, likely from a fall. Renee is being remembered as a brilliant young adventurer. May he rest in peace. Catherine Shupp Major. Catherine, age 53, was last seen in Teton County on September 19, 2009. According to reports, she is approximately 5 foot 5 inches tall, with green eyes, brown hair, and a scar on her lower right abdomen. She was last seen walking away from the Four Seasons Resort in Teton Village after resort officials told her to leave because she was allegedly caught stealing from the hotel. Police located Major in her room at the hotel, where she admitted to taking the items and agreed to pay for them. Resort officials decided not to press charges, but they did ask her to vacate her room at the hotel. A sheriff's deputy wrote in a police report, "She appeared embarrassed that she got caught and assured me if she moved to another hotel, she would not steal again." Major was left alone to pack her things in room 556, and when security went back to check on her progress 40 minutes later, she had completely disappeared. Police said the glass door leading outside was still open, and her belongings all appeared to be in the room, but the room safe was slightly ajar. Catherine left behind her wallet, purse, 2 cats named Oscar and Max, toiletries, $45,000 in cash, wigs, gloves, and a rope. A deputy stated, "I searched the room for any evidence of a struggle, but did not find any." Catherine did leave a note on the hotel room counter that read, "Please take care of Oscar and Max. I have nothing." The note was on top of a card addressed to her mother in California. Teams with the Department of Criminal Investigation and the Sheriff's Office, including 3 dogs, immediately began a search, but she was nowhere to be found. Catherine's sister told reporters in a 2017 interview, "I believe we've all come to terms with it, but it would be much nicer to have closure." Foster, 59, said her sister was bipolar, a condition sometimes referred to as manic depression, and had attempted to take her own life on at least 5 occasions prior to her disappearance. Hoshino. Hoshino was a 42-year-old Japanese national who had been working as an IT engineer in San Jose, California, when he decided to vacation in Jackson and visit Grand Teton National Park. Climbing rangers responded Saturday, September 4th, 2021, after a separate climber ascending Tweewinot reported finding a deceased man at the base of the Black Chimney. Hitoshi was likely alone and planning to climb the east face based on a marked map found on him, a release said. The National Park Service is investigating the accident and has released little information about what happened aside from just a few details included in a Saturday evening news release. All the public was told, aside from his name and occupation, is that Hitoshi was staying at an Airbnb in town. Park spokesman C.J. Adams told the Daily that the incident that led to the man's death likely occurred Friday, September 4th, and rangers were notified around noon Saturday. The park recovered his body with a helicopter. Teton Park representatives have not said what route Hitoshi was climbing for sure, though many climbers regard the general area where he was found as hard to navigate. Ono appears to have been climbing alone with the intent of climbing the east face route based on the marked map found with him, the park representative said. Route finding is difficult in the area. The Japanese consulate has provided communication with Ono's family in Japan, and next of kin notifications have been made. Grand Teton National Park employees extend their condolences to Hitoshi Ono's family and friends. The National Park Service is conducting an investigation into the incident. Bryan. Teton Interagency Dispatch Center received an emergency call at approximately 12 noon on Monday, February 2nd, about a skier involved in an avalanche in the Broken Thumb area on the peak known as 25 Short in Grand Teton National Park. Park rangers, Teton County Search and Rescue members, and Bridger Teton National Forest personnel jointly responded to the incident. A party of 3 local residents departed from the Taggart Lake trailhead earlier that morning, intending to ski the Broken Thumb area. The party was skiing one at a time on the upper parts of the slope. Bryan, a 33-year-old Jackson, Wyoming resident, was leading the group, entering the narrow area above the rappels when an avalanche occurred. The avalanche was up to 2 feet deep and fractured 50 to 100 feet above Matthew, sweeping him over the rappel and downslope for approximately 1,000 feet. The Teton County Search and Rescue helicopter, along with park rangers, immediately responded with aerial reconnaissance to determine if a short-haul rescue would be an option. This particular type of rescue was determined not to be feasible due to very high gusts of wind. The helicopter landed near Taggart Lake, and rescue personnel skied to the scene. Bryan was immediately determined to be deceased. His body was flown to a front country location and transferred to the Teton County coroner. The other members of Matthew's party were able to ski themselves out, and none of them suffered any injuries. Matthew was said to be a devoted friend who left a lasting impression on everyone who came into contact with him. His family moved to Westchester, Pennsylvania in 1993, and he graduated from Henderson High School in 2006 and Penn State University in 2010. Just days before his 21st birthday, Matthew said goodbye to his family, packed his Subaru with what he could, and set out upon his dream of living out west. He headed first to Steamboat Springs, Colorado. While living in Steamboat, he became a whitewater rafting guide and an accomplished snowboarder and mountain biker. He also discovered that he had a great love for the desert. In 2018, he moved to Jackson, Wyoming, where he continued to follow his passions. He especially loved Moab and would be in the mountains whether it was summer or winter. His many other passions included hiking, camping, disc golfing, listening to good music, following Formula One racing, and fantasy football. Matthew Bryan was said to have an indescribable love of snowboarding. While he met many friends and touched so many lives while spending time in the mountains, they ended up being the very thing that took him from those he touched so deeply. The family would like to thank everyone for the incredible love and support they've received during this difficult time, and wish to extend sincere thanks to the Grand Teton National Park Rangers, Teton County Search and Rescue, and Bridger Teton National Forest personnel. Well, friends, there you have it. Some sad cases indeed. Be careful if you're out in the mountains and national parks this season. I look forward to your comments, but please keep it friendly and respectful. Many times, friends and family of the deceased watch these videos and read the comments. Meanwhile, be good to yourselves and each other, and I'll see you just a little farther on down the trail. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'll talk to you next time.